Hello, friends. Pardon me. Hello, friends. It is I, Sir Longa, and I'm here with a video for my series on Thoughts Out Loud. So, in this extremely volatile political climate where everybody has turned against one another because each one thinks that they have a moral high ground over the other, I had some thoughts that came into my mind. And these thoughts had an underlying theme or a concept around them. And the concept was the concept of unnecessary evil, right? So, for those of you who don't know, unnecessary evil is when someone commits a quote-unquote evil deed for a good result. Like, it's equivalent to, would you supposedly kill somebody to would you possibly kill somebody to end world hunger, something along those lines, right? So I ran across this Instagram post, and this Instagram post said that San Francisco was giving homeless people free alcohol. And obviously, you know, the first thing that comes to my mind was like, what? That's not right. If it's really happening, that's not right. So obviously I have to do my due diligence and then looked into it. I looked into it, and come to find out, it's true. It's true. So I ended up reading some things about it, and this is some of the stuff I found. This is just one of the articles. Feel free to read it. But so this is the article that I read, and it said, I was killing myself. San Francisco program giving alcohols to addict may save lives. So I read it, and I read the article, and they take a very scientific approach to giving alcoholics alcohol, where they give them just enough to make sure they don't overdose and slowly wean them off of it. And the more I read into it, the more it made sense. And they took a very scientific approach. It still sounds crazy. No matter how you put it, it still sounds crazy that you're giving alcoholics alcohol to be better. But there's science proving it. And after that, I calmed down. But then it hit me that by the sounds of it, this isn't really something that people consider as good natured, especially if you don't look into it. Some people are like, I don't want to look into it. It is what it is. They're giving alcohol to homeless people. They're not helping the problem. They're exacerbating it, right? But that's not the case. It's a very scientific approach, especially if you choose to read into it. So it got me to thinking about that concept of like unnecessary evil. If the ends mean that something good is going to come out of it, does the means really justify it? Are you willing to be the villain or the bad guy to make sure that everything goes well for other people? Almost like a self-sacrificial lamb. It's almost like, in a sense, like Jesus Christ, but you weren't sinless in a way. You take on all the sin. Well, yeah, similar. But it got me to thinking. There's another analogy. I know you guys have seen your fair share of Marvel movies, I'm sure. And in the Marvel movie, where what was it? Endgame, I believe. Was it Endgame when Thanos decided to snap everybody into oblivion? Hold on a second, fellas. What movie was Thanos snapping people into oblivion?
DC just came back from a search.
Endgame. Okay. So in Marvel's Avengers Endgame, there's Thanos, and he wants to get rid of half of the population because he felt like that they would run out of resources at some point. And you hear that, I'm like, are you crazy? What are you talking about? Why would you do that? But people fail to realize, or well, people realize probably, is he wasn't wrong. Overpopulation is a problem. It really is a problem. It's even into a problem where resources run out. There's plenty of movies on this topic involving overpopulation. So it actually is a fair share of problems. So even though Thanos' approach wasn't the best, and obviously it wasn't good in any stretch of the imagination, he wasn't wrong. It is a problem. It makes people ugly the minute they have to fight for basic shelter, food, and needs. So it winds me back to the article or involving giving alcohol to homeless people. Is it right? I don't know. I mean, I don't think this program has been around long enough to consider showing fantastic results yet. I think it was enacted in 2020. Yes, it's 4 years or 5 years. It's 2025. But if they're taking a scientific approach, and I think it's worth a try, it makes me wonder, even like strictly speaking, in terms of homelessness, what do we do about it? We can't just leave them. They're Americans too. They're people too. Just because some of them hit a rough patch or some of them are mentally ill doesn't mean America just abandoned them, especially in this day and age where I think that people have gotten negative thoughts on the homeless as if they're just all lazy people. To put a blanket statement on every single person out there, that's kind of ignorant and selfish, because you don't want to think about the problem. And I get it, we all pay taxes in terms of, you know, infrastructure, in terms of feeding people who are on welfare. But I mean, it's a difficult topic. I think it's an extremely difficult topic. You can't just abandon them. You can't. And if something like this helps people with addiction, sure. I mean, I'm all for it, but it doesn't sound good. It still sounds evil. It goes to me like someone who is, in the end of the day, like a dirty cop, who, in the end of the day, in order to get anything done, they need to get their hands dirty. Or a ruthless ruler who knows that in order to bring about peace, he must have blood in his hands. I don't know. I don't really have an answer to these questions. I don't. It's just something that like was in my mind, and it's still in my mind. It's still bothering me. But my question trails off to you guys. Are you willing to be the villain? Are you willing to soil your hands or soil yourself to get a positive outcome for even maybe not your family, but maybe humanity? Are you willing to be the villain? And I'm not sure if too many people would even care about other people to the extent of being the villain. I think people get a sense of pride in being the moral high ground. They're more so concerned about being morally right than actually being moral and actually being helpful to other people. And that's what I'm seeing in this day and age. They're like, they want to be on the right side, but they're not willing to do what's right. So yeah, I don't really have any more comments. I probably jabbered on a bit. So yeah, this is Sarlonga. Love you guys. Like, subscribe. I'm out.